Hello everyone, I'm Daniel from IGN and I'm joined by Alex today. Now, it was only announced a couple of days ago, but we've already got our sticky little mitts all over the Nintendo 2DS. And in that time-honoured tradition, we're going to take it out of its box.
Now, important to note that this is the red and white version, which is exclusive to Europe, which is very exciting
Yeah,
indeed.
so the American exclusive, North American exclusive is red and black.
Yep.
And both territories get blue and black.
Yep.
So shall we dive in?
Let's see what's inside.
Da, 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 da.
So, first thing to note, you get a power supply, which you never got with the 3DS XL, so plus 1 point to Nintendo.
Here are your standard kind of AR cards and manuals. But that's not the interesting stuff. It's not the really interesting stuff, is it, Alex?
Well, hopefully the console itself.
Yeah, hopefully it's in there.
Thing.
I know we've been gypped. I think this is too hard for 5-year-olds. Okay, here we go.
So there it is.
This is the white version, and let's take it out of its wrapper. So there you go, that is the 2DS.
So the first thing I would say is it's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
I actually think it feels really, really compact. So should we just walk you around the console?
Yeah.
So at the top, you've got obviously the cartridge slot. You've got your power adapter input. You've got the shoulder buttons, which are actually much more like a console controller.